Hi, welcome to the podcast today. Our topic of discussion is going to be the new camo pattern announced by the Army. This is really huge news, although probably pretty controversial and mostly going to upset people. But in case you haven't heard, militarytimes.com is reporting that SMA Chandler has started to let loose the information that we are going to be using the Scorpion camo pattern. If you're like me at all, even if you've been following this camo saga, the word Scorpion might be new to you, but it's the precursor to multicam. It's very similar to multicam. There are some key differences. I'm not going to go over what they are. I'm providing a link that you can go click on, and this guy does a really great job of summing up the whole camo pattern saga, story, timeline. And he does a great job of describing the differences between Scorpion and multicam. But essentially, Scorpion was tested and developed as a joint project between the U.S. Army and CRY. CRY wanted to trademark the pattern, so they made multicam by adding a few differences. And again, this website I'm going to link you to explains those differences really well. So the Army has, I guess, unofficially announced. Military Times doesn't really have, well, they may have a great source, but they haven't told us who their source is. So they may just be making this up. This may be something they heard. I think that they probably got it from a source pretty close to what's going on. Don't know, but we're going to assume they did. And so they're announcing that we're going to have, like I said, Scorpion camo pattern, which is very similar to multicam. And this is a great and wonderful thing. And I know you're sitting there going, are you an idiot? We have multicam. Why don't we just pay the $25 million that CRY wants and get multicam? Why don't we find something else that we've spent billions of dollars testing and use it? You know, I can see where you're coming from with that. However, I think that we may have actually made the best decision here. First of all, we have to replace UCP. So any decision that replaces UCP is a good decision. Every camo pattern available on the market pretty much beats out UCP. So we have a decision, and that, by virtue of itself, is good. Even if it was just going back to OD green, it would be great and wonderful. So we're going to switch from UCP. Second, why the switch to Scorpion is so good is because it's so similar to multicam, but we don't have to pay the royalties. So one of the big complaints that comes up a lot is, well, there's not just uniforms, but we have to repaint equipment. We have to have armor carriers. We've got hats. We've got gloves. We've got whole color schemes of equipment that relies on this multicam. Well, Scorpion keeps us in that color scheme. And honestly, if you were to wear a multicam armor carrier that we already have purchased and place it over somebody wearing Scorpion, you wouldn't be able to tell. You would think they were wearing the same camo pattern. I've looked at the pictures. I'm an untrained eye. I'm just an E4 specialist. I'm not an expert. But unless the changes and the differences between the two are pointed out, you'll probably never be able to tell the difference. And so we're going to a pattern that fits with a pattern we're already using, which means that we have to spend less on changing other equipment. If we were to pick one of the other camouflages out there, we'd have all these changes we have to make, and we would have to pay a lot of money for new armor carriers, for new paint jobs, and other things. Basically, all the equipment that needs to fit the color scheme, we'd have to redo. But by choosing Scorpion, we don't have to do that. So we've saved a ton of money there. Third, we saved a ton of money because we don't have to pay CRY $25 million for their pattern. And I know there's a lot of back and forth over whether we should have paid CRY for their pattern. I mean, it is trademarked by them. We should, pay people for their work. But regardless, $25 million is a lot of money. And if we don't have to pay that, great. Even if it is fair, even if it makes it equal in cost to UCP, just phasing it in, we have found a way to not spend $25 million and essentially have the same exact pattern. And to me, that's a really great thing. Now, a lot of people are saying, well, the Senate wants us all to use the same pattern across all the services in the next couple of years. And by doing this, we're just going to spend a lot of money getting everybody into the Scorpion camo pattern to have to turn around and put us all in something like Marpat or Desert All Over Brush or something crazy that we haven't even heard about. Well, one, I don't think that resolution is really going to be followed. The Marines are holding fast and tight to Marpat, and they are not letting go. I think someone said something along the lines of a bulldog and a ham sandwich. I mean, they do not want to let go of Marpat, and that's fine, whatever. Personally, I think we should all use the same camo, because if there is a camo that is better than all the other camos, for whatever the tactical scenario may be, I don't believe in one universal camo, but if we have a camo that works and is super effective, why wouldn't we want all of our soldiers wearing it? Which, of course, supports the argument for Marpat to just be adopted by all of us, but that's a whole other thing. The Marines don't want us using Marpat because they want their own thing. And so I think with the resistance there, the unnecessity, if that's a word, of the Air Force and the Navy actually having a working camo pattern, which those who need working camo pattern use, you guessed it, multicam. And the fact that the Army is really spent a lot of money on this and want to see results from the money they've spent. I don't think we're going to get to a single pattern across the service anytime soon. Even if the services do decide to listen to the resolution, go ahead with it, we're going to spend another 5 to 10 years in research and development just to come back, pick a pattern that we've already used, and everybody will probably be in UCP, and Congress will have screwed us over once again. So I really don't think that's as big a factor in play as a lot of people do. I think for the immediate future, it can be ignored. I think that the switch to Scorpion is going to be cost effective because we don't have to pay Cry. We don't really have to change that much of our equipment. We only have to pay for new equipment that's coming in, which we have to pay with for UCP or any pattern anyways. And it's an effective camouflage that everybody likes. So in the end, I definitely think that this decision to use Scorpion, if it actually is the Army decision, and like I said, we have yet to see any official statement, but if the decision is in fact to use Scorpion, I think it's the right decision for the reasons I listed. I know there's going to be a lot of disagreement with the points I made and with my thought process. Feel free to air that out in the comments below and to let me know what you think. I'm open to being wrong and I'm open to learning from you guys, so go ahead and give me your thoughts, opinions, and comments. So thanks for listening and stay tuned for our next podcast.